For your politics news this morning, the waiting game goes on in Virginia. You've got the jury in Paul Manafort's trial now in day 4 of deliberations. Manafort's attorney says this while he was heading into court this morning. Watch.
How are you feeling going into day 4 deliberations?
We feel good. We feel good.
So cue up the other 3 days, Ken Delanian, who's outside the courthouse. That's pretty much what Kevin Downing, Manafort's lawyer, has said every day walking into court, that they feel good. Should they? What do you make?
Well, every day there isn't a conviction is a good day for the defendant, Hallie. But we just don't know.
Well, that's fair.
There's really 2 possibilities here, right? One is that the jury is meticulously going through these 18 counts. Don't forget, there's 300 exhibits, more than 20 witnesses. They're doing their due diligence. They're going through the counts. Another possibility is that there's some serious disagreement. But we have some tea leaves to read. They have not sent any notes to the judge since Friday. No note suggesting that they're deadlocked, for example. No questions about points of law or points of evidence. That suggests that maybe there isn't disagreement. Maybe they're just simply doing their jobs. Another tea leaf we're reading is that they asked to stay late last night. They asked to stay until 6:15, which was later than they had stayed at any point during the trial. Some people are reading that as maybe they had a chunk of evidence they wanted to plow through. You know, it's the American jury system, Hallie. We're all just waiting. These 6 anonymous men and women have so much in their hands, including potentially the future of the Mueller investigation, or at least how this investigation will be viewed in the near future, Hallie.
Ken, I hope you have a comfortable chair. You could be there for a while. Or really, we could hear from the jury any minute. You never know. Thank you. Joining me now is Robert Bianchi, criminal defense attorney and former head county prosecutor in New Jersey's Morris County. Robert, thanks for coming on here. So what do you make of the idea that we're now in day 4, still no decision, lots of sort of evidence and paperwork, as Ken noted, that the jury's had a chance to look through?
Well, you don't make too much of it, but I take this from the prosecutor's perspective, having tried most cases myself as a prosecutor, and obviously as time is going by, the more concerned you are. But, Hallie, let's be clear. The judge did something here that was really detrimental to prosecutors, in my opinion, a lot of things in my mind, but he essentially allowed a document dump to go into the jury, and of course the jury comes back and says, hey, can you put these documents in context with respect to the charges? And the answer was no. And as a prosecutor, the last thing I want the jurors to be doing is foraging through documents, trying to match them up to testimony, and trying to match them up to charges. So it's an arduous task, and I think that they're doing their due diligence.
Former U.S. Attorney Barbara McQuaid has been sitting in on the Manafort trial. She was for MSNBC here, and she had something interesting to say as to why she thinks this may be going on now for 4 days. I want you to listen to what she said, and then I want your perspective on it.
I think that the time they saved in the trial, they may be giving back in the deliberations, as the jury now needs to go and pull out all those documents and look at them and see how they match up. One of the questions they have asked is whether they could have some sort of key or chart showing them which exhibits match up with which counts or which witnesses, and the judge said no. So they're doing that work themselves, and I think in a case with more than 400 exhibits, it could take them some time.
So it kind of matches up with your take, it seems, Robert.
I think her opinion was brilliant, Hallie. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as a prosecutor, I want to present my demonstrative evidence in front of the jury, not have them guess. And I agree with Ms. McQuaid that this is exactly what it is that they're doing, and it's unfortunate they were put in that position.
I want to ask you about something else that relates to the special counsel investigation, specifically how much of this got started in the first place, and that is because of somebody named George Papadopoulos. If you watch this network, you know that he was somebody who was kind of an informal advisor to the Trump campaign back in 2016 before the election there. Now, he had a plea deal with Robert Mueller, right? He is now considering pulling out of that plea agreement altogether. Here is what his wife said on Sean Hannity's program last night.
We are discussing now the possibility and the technicalities behind this possibility with lawyers. We have important meetings tomorrow. This plea agreement is, to me, even difficult to uphold in the context of a trial by the judge, because it's against the rule of law in many ways. There are many things that happen that are completely against the law.
So Papadopoulos sends this kind of cryptic tweet saying, been a hell of a year, decisions, period. We know, based on what his wife said, that they are meeting with their attorneys. You heard her say that today. Number one, Robert, can Papadopoulos pull out of this plea deal? And how much of a hot mess is it if that actually happens?
Okay, well, let's go with point number one. If he came to me to say, I want to pull out of the plea deal when he can be charged with obstruction, my question to him in retort would be, are you insane? Number one. Number two, I don't think he's going to be able to pull out of the plea deal. Judges just don't let you willy-nilly pull out of plea deals. They're very specific. The judge goes through great detail, making sure that it's voluntary, making sure they understand all the consequences of it, and just having a change of heart is never a basis to overturn a plea agreement. It's not going to happen.
Robert Bianchi, I think last time we had you on, you were sitting next to me in Somerville, New Jersey, when I was covering the president's trip to Bedminster. I'm sorry you can't be with us today, but it's a pleasure to have you back, my friend. Thank you.
Thanks, Hallie.